Hi, everybody. Wednesday was a pretty solid session for the overall stock market. The biggest news, I guess you could say, out there overall was the fact that we did not back and fill Tuesday's move. We held it intraday. We had a couple of scary sell-offs that could have turned into something a little bit more sinister. However, nothing turned out about it. And by the end of the day, as you can see here, the S&P 500 closed flat overall, and volume was lower than the day before. So I guess you could say this was a good quote quote pullback day by the S&P 500. You can see TSV is still trending higher. MACD is still trending higher, so all is well on those two oscillators. The New York Stock Exchange pulled back 0.24%, lower volume. Oscillators are good. Dow Jones Industrial Average, same thing, minor pullback. Both oscillators are good. Volume was about equal to the day before. Actually, it does look like it was lower. 899. Okay, so it was even lower on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. At first glance, it looked exactly even, but it does appear slightly lower. So once again, a constructive pullback. Now, the NASDAQ was actually up today. However, volume was about equal. It was slightly lower, but it's about equal. And overall, the biggest news is that we didn't close near the low of the day. So we held up. Even though we're rallying on below average volume, it's all good. You can see MACD is still trending higher. TSV is exploding higher. So overall, everything looks good there. And in the Russell 2000, nice pullback, lower volume. Let's go ahead and get rid of the volume here just so I could see it easier. But you can see TSV is trending higher so nicely. MACD is doing good too. Switching over the stochastics. Once again, I didn't add the RSI. I have them in different chart window that I look at. But bottom line is it's also trending up. But stochastics and RSI is also confirming on the Russell 2000, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and S&P 500. The one concern is we're starting to race towards those overbought levels, but we're nowhere near there. So we could get a couple of more days of big price gains before we start to get quote-quote overbought in our oscillators. Now, outside of that, I have no sells, no partial sells, no ads, no new long signals. The best of the best tonight that I personally flagged was LNG. Not breaking out really. It's on lower volume. You see 74.85 is where the high is, and you see here 75.67, 75.56 are the prior highs. So until it gets above 75.50, I won't be that interested. Arithmetic chart kind of shows you, it's still kind of deep overall in the cut pattern. If this was a good handle, it would be up about around the $80 level. So the fact that it's down here at the $75 level shows you that the handle's in the low end of the base, slightly below the midsection. It's not a good handle. Still, LNG can go sideways a few more days, produce a pocket pivot point signal, get above these resistance levels. It's a perfect speculator scan stock. Only 42 stocks qualify right now out of over 10,000 stocks out there. So it's a pretty big deal. So then we would think about getting long this stock if it can trigger. Also, flagging CRMD as a speculative long. It would need to base out a few more days before I would even consider setting a buy stop on something like this because it's so speculative. But if you're going to do it on anything, it'd be a biotech stock. And then MEA, pocket pivot point signal. Now, it's a low price stock, not a big deal, nothing I would trade, and I don't even know the news yet. But let's say volume was huge today to go on with this pocket pivot point signal with this price surge of 11% and this max green bop that it's had ever since it started its rally in January. Then I look at the news, and if it's positive, we definitely go ahead and poke a position. But it's too low volume. It's too speculative. Not really interested. Just wanted to go ahead and show everybody. And that's it. That's all I flagged. I got a lot of stocks. You can look on the stocks on watch that were up today in my new positions page, and that'll go over some of them. But the only stock I think that I'm going to do anything with tonight, ODP, Office Depot, was an earnings winner back in November. Was it? I think it was in November. So November here, it was an earnings winner. It was in play in a lot of the low price stock chat rooms. Kind of was forgotten about as it really didn't produce much gains going into November, or going into December, excuse me. But since then, the stock is now up 51%. It's done a couple of Bible gap ups that it's continued on. You can see this Bible gap up in November worked, this Bible gap up in December worked, and so far this Bible gap up in February is working. It's now consolidating its pattern on volume that's contracting lower compared to its first big two up days following that gap up in February, and it's holding max green bop the entire way. It now has 5 days of sideways price action, so I want to set buy stops. And if I look at it, at first, you think you want to do the 977 level, but I see 962 acting as major resistance. So 963, put a couple of put a buy stop, excuse me, at 963. Maybe I'll do one at 963, one at 978, stagger it in half, and as each one crosses, it'll be good to go, and then that'll be true confirmation that we are breaking out, besides it just getting above that 962 level. But this is the only thing I want to do with anything with tonight. I want to set buy stops on ODP. Besides that, there's nothing else. I recently sold a bit off of Wi-Fi as a speculative position as intraday here. I forgot what the low was. I think it was probably below 822 then, obviously. And when it got below 822, it triggered a sell stop, closing at 821, starting to reverse each of the past 2 days. The problem is, though, the speculative stock, even with it reversing, I want to see BOP increasing, not falling 2 sessions in a row. It should be growing 2 sessions in a row. So this is a possible buy back position. But besides that, nothing else doing going into Thursday. Aloha.